as always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Well, I considered going with Panthers and Jets fans because I got to tell you, it's rare that I feel like everyone wins. And I know the Panthers won that football game. I thought Darnold looked excellent at times for Carolina. And even though he lost, and even though he had a bad interception, I thought Zach Wilson actually looked really good for decent portions of that football game. For his first start in the NFL, he looks like a guy that belongs. Now, he's going to have some things to work on, obviously, but I kind of felt like both organizations have a good quarterback for the near future.
I agree. I thought Darnold, for whatever reason, he just looks better in a Panthers jersey than he did.
He looked athletic out there, didn't
he? Maybe it was the white. I don't know what it was. He just looked better. Matt Rule with the FDNY hat. That was awesome. I love Matt Rule so much. Ted, I'm so surprised you picked this game. I'm afraid to ask, do you have Christian McCaffrey on your fantasy team this year?
Hell no, wouldn't pick that guy. Who knows? They lose a couple of games, phantom ankle injury. He'd be jogging up and down the sideline for the next 12 weeks. No way.
You clearly watched the game, so you saw his 98 rushing yards and then 9 catches for 89 yards.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Just like week 1 last year was great. Okay? Just don't expect it to last. Pathetic.
I see that you've gotten over last year's fantasy football debacle with Christian McCaffrey.
But I ended up settling on Rams fans. And I'll just tell you right now, I may look like a total idiot because I've got the game paused in the other room. But I saw Matt Stafford rip the ball down the field for about a 65-yard opening touchdown for the season.
I'll give you an update. I won't give you a score update, but I'll give you a Stafford stat line update.
Okay.
16 of 21, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions currently for Matt Stafford.
There you
Former
go.
teammate, tremendous man, fantastic guy.
Monster arm, huge cannon. He's aggressive. I hope he's not too aggressive. That's the one thing I worry about with that defense. You don't want to play to you want to play to them. Don't put them in a bad spot. But I think Matt Stafford for the Rams is a game changer. They've been right there knocking on the door. I feel like he could be good enough to get them where they're honestly right there competing for a Super Bowl.
Update, 17 of 22 for Matt Stafford, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Oof, there you go.
The stat line for the boy Stafford looking good currently. And hey, I'll give those white jerseys popping under the lights at the new stadium there for the Rams. I know a lot of people are a little unsure about them. I kind of like them.
Unsure about the unis?
The unis, yeah, received some criticism.
What uniform doesn't? Other than
that's a good point.
Unless you're wearing the same thing you've worn for 50 years, every uniform is going to receive some criticism.
Justin Fields has thrown 2 passes for the Bears, by the way.
Ah, nice.
So you got some interesting stuff to look forward to.
Little appearance there. How about that? Okay.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
It was really difficult not to go with Florida State. Week 1, I mean, just an unbelievable effort. Fan base excited, hopeful. Week 2, Jacksonville State. And how they give up that touchdown on that play, just unbelievable. But it happened. What a brutal turnaround, turn of events for a week 2 for Florida State.
That, like, I question how that happens. Like, I know that there's no moral victories, right? But you play Notre Dame, who is one of the most talented teams in the country. Any way you look at it, right? Along the line of scrimmage.
They barely won. It was like the
They
complete
escaped.
opposite. They escaped. Florida State did not. That was crazy.
But I just wonder, like, if you're the players from Florida State, what do you say coming into that locker room? Like, we were all excited for Mackenzie Milton to take over as quarterback, and he was okay. But you cannot lose that game. You just can't. I mean, you can't lose that game, man. Jacksonville State. This was a team that UAB shut out the week before.
Well, I'll answer your question with this. What do you say walking into that locker room? Well, it depends. It depends on how you played in the game.
That's a good point. But
if you played well, you could say anything you want. If you didn't play well, you're just going to keep it quiet, go over to the locker and try and sink into the background.
When you see a game like this, like normally you're like, okay, well, Florida State must have turned it over like 5 times. The turnover margin was even. 1 turnover each. Which means you just got outplayed by Jacksonville State.
I don't know what was happening on the final play. I don't know what they're doing. They're just don't give up the touchdown. And the game's over. And they're in like I only saw the highlight, but they're not in a final play defense. They're like bringing people on the up front, it looked like. Single high safety. I don't know. It's crazy.
Such a bad loss. By the way, Jacksonville State, if you haven't seen it, it's basically they just throw a go ball down. It's not even like down the sideline. It's like in between the numbers and the sideline. The Jacksonville State guy just catches it in stride, stops a little bit, and scores a touchdown on the last play of the game to win it. It was
and gets dogpiled by his team,
which was awesome.
Everyone in Tallahassee has to watch Jacksonville State celebrate on their field. Just unbelievable. It's crazy. Well, hang on. I got to give you my loser real quick. That's who I thought about going with. I ended up going with Trevor Lawrence. I'll make it quick. This has to be true because I read it. They could have just thrown it up there. This is Trevor Lawrence's first regular season loss ever. High school, college, ever. And I'm just get ready for some adversity, buddy, because they are about to absolutely pile up. He's a great player and has done some great things to be able to claim that he's never lost a regular season game, but I don't know mentally how he's going to make it through the season if that's the case.
Remember when we thought the Texans, with all the drama with Deshaun Watson, that they were going to be the worst team in the league? They were up 27-7 at halftime. I was watching it. I was just like, oh my gosh. And I will say, my man Tyrod Taylor looking good that away, Tyrod. God, they're going to be bad, man.
Horrible.
Is Urban Meyer going to make it through the season? Like health-wise?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
I hope he does. I hope he's all right. He didn't look like he was having a very good time.
Here's the thing, man, and you know this, not to spend much time on it. He's a grinder. He grinds his players. And in the NFL, they'll do it for a little while, but if it doesn't turn into wins, mutiny.
Oh, yeah. Okay, for my winner of the weekend, thought about going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So much hype for the Bills coming into the season. People saying, hey, maybe Super Bowl team. Well, all the Steelers did was go to Buffalo, get down 10-0, and fight back and get a tough road win, 23-16. and Big Ben was okay, but that was a nice win for the Steelers. But Ted, my winner of the weekend, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals go on the road and just smack the Tennessee Titans 38-13. And Kyler looked awesome. I mean, was ripping deep throws all the way across the field early, was really accurate. His mobility continues to be one of the most entertaining things in the National Football League. He had an absolutely ridiculous scramble in this one. Like, it was straight out of like a pickup game of football at recess. It was awesome. But some of those throws he makes on the run, they're just ridiculous, man. And that touchdown throw to DeAndre Hopkins, it was so good. Like, he's so difficult to defend. He had the rushing touchdown on the naked, ends up with the rushing touchdown, 4 passing touchdowns. Arizona's defense completely shuts down Derrick Henry and that Titans offense. Chandler Jones had 5 sacks. They may want to get that man that new contract that he wants.
They better do it now before he gets 20 sacks.
Yeah, but just a dominant performance for the Arizona Cardinals on the road against what I think is going to be a really good football team. So that was a hell of a start to the season for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
I think that Kyler is on the verge. Year 2 down the road, maybe sooner, I think he's going to be the best quarterback in the NFL. It's too easy. Whenever someone in a sport makes it look that easy, there's something going on. Like, we're about to witness something special. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone make it look that easy. Now, it's week 1 and he's going to go through some stuff as well, but I don't know which was first, but it was funny that on my timeline on Twitter, someone tweets out a video of like the first throw on the run. This is going to be the greatest. This is going to be the best throw you see all day. And I was like, wow, yeah, it probably is. And then like 2 scrolls later, there's the NFL Network has a video of him throwing the grenade ball that it looks like it comes like straight down into the back of the end zone. Unbelievable. The kid is unbelievable. In the scramble, or not the scramble, but the rushing touchdown, he's different. He's a different player, man.
He knew he scored as soon as he turned around on the fake. Like, he was like, oh, I'm outrunning that dude, put the ball up and everything. I was like, oh my gosh.
It's nice to know that you are the fastest player on the field at all times. It's a great feeling.
They look good. Hey, even old JJ Watt, he made some plays in that one. But
he's running under some blocks, making a couple plays.
No, running behind.
Or running behind him.
Running behind. He did it on the goal line and made a play, and I was like, JJ. Oh gosh, vintage Watt, some would say. Okay, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with the Browns punter. Listen, man, you can't hand the Kansas City Chiefs points, bro. I know you're from Scotland, but don't do that. Like, and I think they call him the Scottish Hammer. And I've got some intel. That guy likes to drink some Guinness. Shocker. He gets after it. But it hit him right in the hands. One job. And of course, that sets the Chiefs up. And the Chiefs ends up. That was an awesome game. And I felt bad for Baker. Like, he had played so well. So well. And for that game to end on that interception from him when he's just trying to make a play, that was unfortunate because I thought he had been really good. And it's just hard to beat the Chiefs when they let Blake Bell take some snaps and get a few QB sneaks in. That was sweet. Let's go, Blakey.
That was cool. A couple of things. Number one, that is exactly why I hate specialists, punters, and kickers. That is exactly why. Everyone plays their guts out for an entire game, and it comes down to a guy dropping the football. The other thing is, you feel bad for Baker. How about me? I picked him to win the football game outright, Gabe. Well, it was right there.
I picked the Chiefs to cover. We both were wrong. The Chiefs won by 4. So we're both idiots. I was at my wife's grandparents' house. They do like a monthly thing where everyone that's got a birthday in that month, they just get together and they knock everyone's birthday out on that one Sunday. And the Chiefs were going for 2. They were up 4, and I turned to a couple of my wife's uncles and I was like, "This is significant to some." They're like, "What's the line?" I was like, 6. I was like, "At least you get a push." Didn't happen, man. I was really hoping they get it because I could come on and be like, I didn't lose. You lost. But I can't even do that, Ted.
Horrible.
I
will say this, though. The Browns are going to be they are a contender this year.
Oh, yeah.
Legitimate contender.
I expect those teams. I would not be surprised if that's your AFC Championship game.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think that is now, once again, it's a long 17-game season. Injuries are going to pile up for everyone in the league. But if those teams can stay relatively healthy, they're going to be there. They're definitely going to be there. My loser of the weekend, it's got to be people that don't have the NFL RedZone channel. I mean, my God, Scott Hanson, he's the best. And all the early slate of games start at a couple minutes in. Ted, he goes octabox, 8 games at once, just throws them up there.
Well,
I needed a moment.
I'm a loser because I don't have. I have the DirecTV version, which is not the Hanson version. The other guy is okay.
You have Siciliano.
Yeah, he's not nearly as good as Hanson. Hanson is so much better.
Oh.
And all I got out of it was a hashtag quad box. Pretty pathetic.
Dude,
but you're right. For one guy, he calls 8 hours of football nonstop with no breaks. It is amazing. You think he's wearing a diaper?
I just wonder what his caffeine consumption is.
He's probably got it.
Or if he's got something a little stronger going on.
He may. It's great though. I'm with you. I typically have RedZone up and whatever game I want to watch up, but today I was all RedZone, and you feel like you watched every game. Even though you only saw bits and pieces of it, you still feel like you watched every game. It's awesome.
Dude, there was an 8-boxer for the early slate. There was a 5-boxer for the late slate. I mean, they had in the early games, they had that crazy San Francisco Detroit finish going on the same time that Pittsburgh was trying to hold on against Buffalo. And at the same time, Minnesota and Cincinnati were going to overtime. And I was just sitting there like, yes.
It seriously is. You have to give credit to the NFL. It's the one thing about college football that it's such a scatter shot, and it's not as commercialized, I understand, but the NFL, it comes down to like that last 4 or 5 minutes every weekend. It's amazing.
The witching hour.
It is.
But there was this one sequence in the late slate of games where it's like they were showing a snap of Miami, New England, and then it would go straight to Green Bay, New Orleans, and then it would go to Denver, New York, and then it just went for 12 straight plays. And it was just like the games were timed up perfectly to where you could go one snap, they'd flip over, they'd be snapping it, they'd flip over, the other would be snapping it, they'd flip it back. I was sitting there like, oh my God. I felt like I needed to take a shower afterwards because I was just so excited. I started sweating. I didn't know. I'm not in RedZone shape yet, but I'm going to get back there.
You'll like this. When I lived in Vegas, when I was playing out there, Sunday was our day off. and I can't even remember the name of the casino, but it has a like a theater, and on Sunday they have like a gigantic movie screen in there, and on the movie screen is like the middle portion of like 75% of it is red zone, and then there's the boxes of all the individual games going. That was the first time I was ever introduced to red zone, and they've got like these different bars set up out there, and they've got all the different like kiosks to where you go in and put your bets in. It was like the greatest thing ever. It was so cool. That was my first introduction to red zone.
It's the best channel in television. I mean, it is it is the absolute best. If you don't have it, I don't know how much it costs. I I don't care. It's worth every dollar. Get it. And they don't even sponsor the podcast. They should, but they don't. Not yet, at least.